Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of MOPO, where it's all matter of personal opinion. I'm at Dave Roach, 83, here with That the Scientist, and today we're going to talk about Doctor Strange. The Marvel movie, the Marvel character, he's like a sorcerer supreme he becomes, but this is more of like a introduction, origin movie where even by the end of the movie he's not what he could fully is capable of. Basically, this is to me the most visually pleasing of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I don't know the scientist feels about that, but
I really enjoyed this movie. Visually, it was very, drawling. I wasn't displeased with any of it.
They while they're fighting, they're playing with reality and like moving the streets and the buildings around, and
it's like Inception on speed.
Yeah, and to kind of open up Doctor Strange's mind, all this. The Ancient One, who's like the teacher, the enlightener, kind of like sends him on this like walkabout or whatever you want to call it, and like that scene alone where Doctor Strange is going through all the realities and the dimensions and the possibilities and
they're just monitoring his heart rate as they do it. Like, I don't think he's able to handle it. Oh, a little longer.
Yeah, it's crazy. I also like how he's trying to learn how to do the sorcery, but he can't do it. And she sends his ass to Mount Everest, and is basically get back. She's like, most people die within 20 minutes. You probably have about 5.
Oh, with the slick ring?
Yeah,
because he couldn't figure it out. The slip or slip?
I think slip.
Okay, slip ring.
Slips on and off. But
I was figuring because you're slipping between dimensions.
Yeah, slipping between. Yeah, either way. But and he finally learns, and his mind is open to it. But this guy, he's like a really good doctor. He's like one of the best doctors in the world. He got good hands and a good brain. And basically what sends him there is he gets into this accident while texting and driving, and basically destroys his hands. He needs to figure out how to be able to use his hands again.
Yeah.
In a professional manner. He can use his hands.
But he's still shaking even after all this therapy.
Yeah, he's not pulling no bullets out of people's brains anymore like he did
at the beginning of the movie. But then he hears about this guy
who is played by Benjamin Bratt. I don't know the guy's name in the movie anymore, but
yeah, he was. I want to say
he's like a paraplegic,
Pagabond or something. I don't know.
A what?
Pagabond. I don't know.
No, I'm not sure. But
I feel like his last name started with a P.
Okay. But yeah, he was a
quadriplegic.
Yeah, paraplegic. His back was broken. He couldn't walk. And basically, he's the only person who's ever come back from some kind of trauma like that to be able to walk. And Doctor Strange goes and searches him out, and Dude Man basically tells him, look, man, I'm doing this spiritually. This is a mental, thing. Go to this place.
Yeah.
And that's where he meets the Ancient One. But Doctor Strange is a very smart person. I want to say that's one of his superpowers. He's a photographic memory. So he's able to just run through these books of spells, and remember these spells and put them to use quicker than really anybody else has ever been able to. So he's kind of above their training. But they still try to do their best to help guide him along and, teach him the ways. During all this, a former disciple of the Ancient One.
I was going to say, before we get too far from this actual point, when we were talking about how he kind of gets indoctrinated into the whole realm when he gets thrown through all those different dimensions and stuff, and he sees like the dark universe and all, it kind of reminded me of 2001 Space Odyssey when he breaks into energy.
Yeah,
so,
a lot like that.
So, I don't know, I just wanted to make that observation.
Right. And,
this disciple is actually trying to get after the dark universe.
Yeah, he wants to use that energy and actually help, bring about the dark, like
the merging of our universe and theirs.
Yeah, not universe, dimension.
Oh, it was a dimension? I thought it was like a universe.
No, it's like there are different dimensions in the universe.
With the promise of eternal life,
which winds up being basically a mindless one. You don't just get to live your life.
Yeah, it's check the fine print. Be careful what you wish for. All that stuff.
They say in the movie, the bill comes at the end, or whatever. So he steals. His name is Caecilius or something like that. He steals these conjuring spells to be able to use, this dark matter. And during the process, the Ancient One actually gets killed.
Not during the process of stealing the pages.
This whole movie, or whatever, the Ancient One's getting killed, and it's up to Doctor Strange and a couple other of the followers to actually stop this dude from, allowing the dark dimension to take over. And I think it's probably my favorite part in the movie is how, Doctor Strange is, outwitting this guy, this much more powerful guy, and he kind of tells him, there is no time, time doesn't matter in the dark dimension. And Doctor Strange uses that and goes to the dark dimension and sets this loop up where he just keeps, coming back and, is able to reset and come back forever. And he tricks Dormammu, the king or whatever of the dark dimension, into leaving Earth alone and, not coming back for, the time being, because, you can't really trust Dormammu to keep his word, because the Stephen Strange uses an item called the Eye of Agamotto to pervert time, and every time Dormammu thinks he kills Stephen Strange, he just loops right back, I'm here to make a strike a bargain.
Yeah, he must have said that 100 times. I'm here to strike a bargain. I'm here to strike a bargain. I'm here to strike a bargain.
It keeps coming over the horizon, and Dormammu's like, What's going on?
What kind of sorcery is this?
Stop it!
I'm tired of you.
You're really starting to piss me off now. And it's dude, then I keep going forever and forever and forever, and he kills Stephen Strange every time.
Forever.
And eventually, Dormammu's like, "All right, set me free. Let me go, please." And that's what he tells him, bounce out. And, it's just a really cool movie, kind of like a riches to rags to riches type story, where, the guy really redeems himself as a human being and, puts others in front of the needs of the world in front of his own, where he wouldn't even, he would only do certain surgeries for certain people if it made him look glorious.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take a risk of you dying on his table.
Right.
So he just wasn't going to operate on you.
To a person where he's basically protecting the Earth from otherworldly creatures. And I think he's going to have a big part in the MCU coming up, because the end scene is him talking to Thor, and it's kind of funny. He keeps filling up Thor's mug with beer, and it's Thor basically needs help finding Odin, finding his father, and Strange alludes that he's going to help him. So it makes me feel like maybe he's going to be in the new Thor movie.
Well, he also it's not even that he's just going to help him. He's helping him under the assumption that he can rid the Earth of Thor. Because he didn't he say something like...
Well, no, he's not so much about Thor. He's just saying, you're going to take your brother back because Loki's down there helping him find Odin too. And he's like, you're going to take Loki back, home, right? Once this is all good. He's like, oh, yeah, of course, whatever.
Yeah, okay, because it was Loki that wasn't fit to be on Earth.
Right. And so then the very end is... There's one of the teachers, the followers of the Ancient One called Mordo. He's basically Baron Mordo, who's a great enemy of Doctor Strange, and he kind of they find out that the Ancient One is ancient because she's been drawing power from the dark universe or dark dimension to make herself young, and Baron Mordo. Or Mordo at this point is not happy with that at all. He feels like
a great contradiction.
Yeah, like he feels betrayed horribly. He's like, you know what? F you guys, I'm going home. And he tells Doctor Strange, like, I'm not doing this no more.
It's like, I'm keeping all these toys I've acquired, but I'm going home.
And the very last scene, after all the credits, and they did 2 end credit scenes, is you see Mordo become Baron Mordo, where he's an enemy of the sorcerers, and he's going to go around trying to rid the world of all the sorcerers.
Yeah,
starting with the Benjamin Bratt guy. It's like, it's kind of weak, man. Like, I'll go after him last. I'll go after the strong ones first. All this dude's trying to do is walk around.
Is he able to use that power for himself?
That's who, Mordo?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he's just stealing his energy.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, wouldn't you go after the easier prey first?
Yeah,
you're
but
building
it's not
yourself
about...
up?
No. It's not about using the power, because I'm sure Mordo knows how to use those spells, too. But I think it's just, stealing the ability from him.
I thought maybe he could use it to strengthen himself.
Well, yeah, I think in a way he is. He's making himself stronger by stealing
that's what I mean,
aura, but not necessarily Mega Man style where, okay, now I have your ability. Like, no, it's just
not in that. No, just making him stronger generally, not Mega Man style.
Like, he's Batman and Stephen Strange is like Cloak Man or whatever. But, so it was a great movie. It's actually much more coherent and smooth and fitting in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe than I thought it was going to be. I was very pleased by it.
And there was a lot more going on than what we touched on here. Like, it was a very visual movie as much as it was a story dialogue movie.
Yeah, well, the story to me was pretty, not bland, but general.
Visually it was amazing.
Visually, it was a great movie, for sure. And it made up for, not the lack of a story, but just the plain... we've seen this story a million times. It's, a story of redemption.
But that being said, I never once felt like the movie slowed down or lost stride. It moved very well. It had a great pace, and I felt like it was, an enjoyable time.
Absolutely. So tell us what you think. What was your favorite part of the movie? Are we full of it? And you're like, oh no, that was a great story, and the visuals suck.
Oh, and one thing to mention: the eye that he was using, that's an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, sure enough. So. There's only a few more out there that we don't know about. Maybe we'll see, another stone in Thor Ragnarok, because I think that's the next movie.
Besides the one that allows them to travel through the light bridge?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. We've seen other stones now, so maybe we'll see another one, a different one, in, the next Thor movie.
Okay.
Who knows? But, that's all MOPO. It's all matter of personal opinion. Thanks for listening.